Greetings, this is Tanaka Ranichino representing Golden Cloud Network, and today we're going to be talking about who runs the Zimbabwean power sector, who is responsible for load shedding. I know you know what that is if you're an African. Who is responsible for load shedding in the country? Today we're going to be having a case study on ZESA Holdings. ZESA Holdings is a private limited company that is responsible for the Zimbabwean power sector. Energy is an important input in human life. It is something that is essential for production. It is something that is essential for life to some extent, to some degree actually. So with energy, there are different types of energy, but there's been a popular type of energy which is known as electrical energy or electricity. This type of energy is so popular that most of the technology that we use today has been designed and developed centered around electrical energy as the main source of energy. So with electrical energy being this important, being this huge, a settlement or a country or a group of people or a community have to make sure that they have enough electricity. They have to make sure that they have a supply, or they have to make sure that they can generate this electricity. So for us Zimbabweans, we have a company that is known as ZESA Holdings. ZESA Holdings is a private company that is responsible for the production and distribution, transmission, and other activities that are centered around electrical energy in Zimbabwe. So this is a private company, but the shareholder of this company is the government of Zimbabwe. So the government of Zimbabwe knows that it has the responsibility of providing electricity to its citizens, but it does not provide this service directly. It provides this service through a company known as ZESA Holdings. So ZESA Holdings is a huge company, and it has 4 subsidiary companies, namely the Zimbabwean Power Company, ZPC, the Zimbabwean Electricity Transmission and Distribution Company, ZETDC, and we have the Zimbabwe, let us cross-check, the ZESA Enterprises actually, or ZENT, and lastly we have Power Telecommunications. Those are the 4 subsidiaries of ZESA Holdings, and they all play a specific role. They all specialize in certain activities, and let us state these activities. So number 1, the Zimbabwean Power Company ZPC is responsible for the generation and supply of electricity. This is where you have power plants such as the Hwange Power Plant, the Kariba Power Plant, where electricity is generated from different ways or methods that are used. So Zimbabwe Power Company ZPC generates and supplies. Once the electricity is generated and supplied, the electricity goes to the second subsidiary company known as the Zimbabwe Electricity Distribution and Transmission Company. So ZETDC then receives the generated and supplied electricity, and then it works towards distributing now. So distribution is done accordingly, and in Zimbabwe we have a prepaid system where you have to pay for you to get your fair share of electricity. So this is ZETDC. It's the company that does that. And then we're moving on to ZENT, or ZESA Enterprises. So ZESA Enterprises is the one that regulates or that focuses on non-regulated business activities that serve the purpose or the missions or the functions of ZESA Holdings. So there's some activities that may be miscellaneous to other companies that are under the ZESA Holdings brand, the ZESA Holdings brand. So these miscellaneous activities are those that are handled by ZESA Enterprises. And then we have Power Telecommunications. So when it comes to these activities, when it comes to power generation, when it comes to power distribution, these processes depend on information communication technology, also known as ICT. So Power Telecommunications is the company that handles all ICT related issues that are incorporated for the distribution and the generation of electricity. So this is ZESA Holdings in a nutshell. So when we're talking about ZESA Holdings, we also have to make sure that they're not alone. ZESA Holdings is part of a group. is part of a group that is known as the Southern African Power Pool. So, interesting fact. The whole of Southern Africa is connected. It's all connected. They're all connected. We're all connected to one power grid. And this power grid is the power grid that is ran by SAPP. And Zimbabwe happens to be in a position geographically that allows it to be a corridor through which electricity is transmitted from areas of high electrical supply, which are in the south, to areas of lower electrical supply, which are in the north. So SAPP is a very vital function or very vital partner of ZESA Holdings. And the countries that are in this SAPP are the following. We have Zimbabwe, South Africa, Zambia, Angola, Namibia, DRC, Malawi, Tanzania, Botswana, Eswatini, Mozambique, and Lesotho. These are 12 countries, and they all happen to be in the southern region of Zimbabwe. So they all work together, they all meet, and they all share insights and ideas, and they all work for the goal or the objective of generating electricity, distributing electricity, just like ZESA Holdings. This is an interesting fact. So this is ZESA Holdings in a nutshell, and we did our calculations based on the fact that 600 units per kilowatt hour in Zimbabwe costs about $131.97, and ZESA Holdings reported that they have a capacity of 2,300 megawatts installed generation capacity, and they make about 10,000 gigawatts per hour in annual sales. So we did our calculations. You can do it on your own, you can verify it on your own, but we calculated and we came up with an estimate of $2.1 billion. ZESA Holdings potentially makes, or possibly makes, according to our calculations, $2.1 billion USD in a year. So the Zimbabwean Power Company has three main power generating sources. We all know that we have Wange. We all know that we have Kariba. We also have what is known as IPPs. So this has the following. As we summarize, as we conclude this presentation, we also have to mention the strategic focus areas of ZESA Holdings. We have security of supply. They are working hard to make sure that at least they secure a supply. So how is power supply secured? How is power supply secured, right? So the ZESA Holdings can either generate its own electricity, but if that's not enough, then they have to import. That's another way in which they ensure that there is enough supply of electricity through generation and importing. And we also have to make sure that there is efficient utilization of the power that they have, because you cannot provide electricity and it's being wasted for nothing. So that is maybe why load shedding is a program that was put in place to ensure the security of supply, where maybe residential areas are less of a priority, but the central business district is a priority, but industries are a priority. So this is the security of supply. We also have funding. So ZESA Holdings has the option of trading electricity for other resources such as minerals, in which they can get minerals and supply electricity in exchange, and then sell the minerals that they get from exchanging with electricity for profits that would then be reinvested in ZESA Holdings to make sure that productivity takes place, to make sure that their agendas are in line, to make sure that their objectives are being achieved. So we have three. We have generation expansion. They have to make sure that they keep developing more power plants, like what they did with Wange when they extended that. Revenue assurance, ensuring cost reflective tariffs, pricing of the electricity, to make sure that at least they can be able to work without any resistance financially. We have improved operating efficiency, making sure that maybe the core, when they're generating electricity, the core that they use is of good quality. And we have renewable energy. The world is going solar, so ZESA has to make sure that it has that in mind. It has to be working on installing as many solar as possible, and we have rural electrification, and finally we have transmission and distribution system expansion. So those are the strategic focus areas for ZESA, and this in a nutshell is the case study of ZESA Holdings, which are the group of people that run the power industry or power sector in Zimbabwe. We hope that you learned something. We hope that you can take something from this and make something of it. This is Golden Cloud Network. Like, share, subscribe if you like what you just saw. Thank you so much.